Um, I know we've been talking for the last few classes about the 8-limb path of yoga, and I'm going to just continue this theme for a while until we kind of move through a lot of what's in the Yoga Sutra. So today I want to talk about Brahmacharya. So again, the yamas are these disciplines that we can cultivate to help us live a better life. And the first we talked about was ahimsa, or nonviolence. The next one we talked about was asteya, or not stealing. And this one, Brahmacharya, is probably, this is the next one we're going to talk about today, Brahmacharya. And it's probably the least understood and most, I don't know, throw the baby out with the bathwater out of all the yamas that we tend to do in our modern day culture. Originally, or the thought around Brahmacharya is one of sexual continence, so abstinence. But we have to remember that these were created in cultures where monks, this is the work of monks. And there are many cultures, many religious traditions today that still have communities of men and or women that abstain from relationship in order to just focus their attention on their path of the divine. So Brahma means the divine or the ultimate, and Charya means path. So it is the path to the divine, or the path of the divine. And this has really nothing to do in our culture or with us as householders to do with sexual abstinence. Really, it has everything to do with the right use of our energy. So energy comes in so many forms, and how we use our energy really does matter. So Brahmacharya is really about kind of focusing your attention, focusing and harnessing your energy toward the goal of moving with the divine. And everybody's path in this way is very different. So when you do some soul searching and you try to figure out what is my purpose and why am I here and what am I doing with my life and how am I using my energy, these are the questions of Brahmacharya. So a lot of times when we are trying to use our energy wisely, one of the things that we need to focus on is not having excess, or not having our energy spread too thin, so that we can really hone our energy and bring our attention toward a goal or toward a purpose. And this could be your work. It could be a passion of yours. It could be parenting. It could be, I don't know, getting through the book that you're reading. It doesn't matter what the focus is that you're focused on at the moment, but are you bringing your full attention into a goal or a task? And this requires incredible discipline. When we have excess of, in all sorts of things, usually there's a sense of attachment with this. So let's say you have a goal of, I'll use myself as an example. I have a goal this summer. I'm going to do a long distance marathon swim, not a marathon distance, but it's called a marathon swim. So it's a 10K swim in an open water environment. And I can't just go do that today. It's a goal. I mean, wouldn't that be nice if you could just bust out a 10K swim anytime you want? But it's something that I have to work towards. So it's a goal that I have, and I've kind of explored why I have that goal. I've wanted to do it for a very, very long time, and figure I'm not getting any younger, so I better do it now before my shoulders fall apart. But whatever it is, you have this goal and you have to move toward the goal. And when you focus on something like that, it usually means that you can't live in excess in other parts. So for me, it means I have to get up early. I have to swim in the morning. I have to make sure that I'm carving out the time to be able to train for something like this. Now, swimming a 10K is a silly goal when we're really thinking about, the spiritual aspects of life. But it's just an example that when you have a goal of something, that you have to move your energy toward it in many different ways. And it usually means you have to give something else up. So if you need to get up early, maybe you need to give up staying up late so that you can get enough sleep so that your day can start early. Maybe you have something you're doing with your children, and you have to give up something else in order to have the time, energy, money, you name it, toward what it is that you're trying to achieve. So there's usually something we have to give up, and there's usually a discipline that we have to cultivate around Brahmacharya. But one of the first things that we need to think about is when you're trying to evaluate for this for yourself, where, if you're trying to figure out where the leaks are, like where do I need to kind of plug myself to not have so much dispersal of energy, so that I can hone and contain and focus my energy on whatever it is I'm focusing on that's a spiritual pursuit. The first thing you need to think about is, how do you spend your energy? If you really contemplate this in a given day, how do you spend your energy? How do you spend your physical energy? How do you spend your emotional energy? How do you spend your mental energy? And this also can equate with time. How do you spend your time? How many hours in the day do you put toward this or this or this? So really, if it's a starting of looking at the use of our energy. And if you discover, when you really take a close look, that you're not having the right use of your energy toward the goal of following the path of the divine, then what changes can you make? And it doesn't have to be big, huge things. It can be, but it could be small, little things like, I'm going to turn the TV off and have 10 minutes of quiet contemplation time instead, or you name it. It doesn't matter. These are just examples, but anything where you evaluate where you could be spending your time or your energy a little bit more wisely. And I think, often our schedules, our physical time is something that's pretty easy to observe and maybe make adjustments to. But the mental energy, I think, is a much harder path to really observe, because our mental energy can kind of get away with us without us really knowing, paying attention too much. So having this sense of awareness and monitoring, where are those cyclical thoughts that you are repeating on autopilot? Are they thoughts that serve you and serve the world, or are they thoughts that harm you and harm the world? Does worry serve you in the way that you think it does? Are kind of ruminating on the past, is it serving you the way you think it could or should? So that's not to say that don't ever worry and don't ever think about the past, but if you tend to have excess in your thought patterns that aren't serving you, what can you do to kind of harness that and bring your attention? And this is how the limb path really folds in on itself, that it's a spiral. It's like a swirl of things that are all happening simultaneously. So to have Brahmacharya, we need to have discipline. We need to have that tapas of the niyamas. We need to meditate and have that sense of single pointed focus so that we can be aware of where our minds are going. We need to move our bodies so that we're finding nourishment. All these things tie in together. So ultimately, Brahmacharya is not about what we are denying ourselves, but it's really about how we are nourishing ourselves along the path. So give that some contemplation today through your day, and just see if there's anything that you would like to shift around a little bit to harness your energy wisely. All right, so let all that go. You can just kind of let it filter all the little things about the yoga path. Just let it kind of filter and dissipate through you now, so that you can come to a seated posture in a way that supports your breath, supports that sense of freedom in the body. So if you're not sitting up on something, I recommend it sitting up on the edge of a blanket or a bolster. And then once you find a comfortable seat, close your eyes if it's comfortable to do so, and bring your attention inward. This quality of paying attention inward to the mind, the body, the spirit. This is part of this Brahmacharya, this turning our focus our attention, our awareness, to discover where we're using our energy. So drop your weight. Feel the roots of your sit bones, your pelvic floor, your legs. Let them ground you. And move into the spaciousness of your upper body. Let the eyes surrender. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears. And bringing your awareness into the rhythm of your breath. How are you breathing? You start to slow the breath down. Even this can be a harnessing, a discipline of wise use of energy. How are you breathing? This doesn't mean deny yourself of breath, but are you cultivating quality breath? When you feel ready, place your hands together at your heart and have a sense of lift, not so much where you're pressing and forcing, but opening. And with this open heart and centered thoughts, see if you can place an intention where I'm going to spend my energy today. My mental energy, my physical energy, my spiritual energy. How am I going to spend my energy today? All right, let's go ahead and open our eyes and come to your mat. Lie down on your back, on your mat. And just feel into a sense of opening and awakening that you have in your body. Right, so stretch your arms overhead, reaching right side, reaching left side, feeling into that awakening and opening of the body. All right. And bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. One of the joys of Brahmacharya is realizing that joy can be found on the inside instead of having to rely on outer sources to feed us energy, to give us joy, to give us satisfaction. We can seek this on the inside. So circle one direction a few times and then the other direction a few times. And then open up your knees away from each other. And bring them back in, just feeling into the range of motion for our backs, our side joints, our hips. And right knee into the chest, left leg comes long on the ground and roll around in your ankles. Feeling the breath. Changing sides. So feel the toes wiggle a little bit here again. See if you can get the ankles and calves and shins to awaken. And then bring that knee back up
Tuck your chin in toward your chest, get a little snug hug. And then we're gonna open up big and wide. Spread your limbs out, stretch outward, feel the fingers and toes. Exhale, knees into your chest. Pick up your head. Again, expand open, feel that sense of spaciousness. Exhale. And then let your head relax. Let's take our feet wide to the edges of your mat. And just windshield wiper your knees left and right. You can turn your head in opposition of your knees if that feels nice to you. Just loosening up your back a little bit. All right, then we're going to roll over onto our right side. You can use a block under your head if you feel like you need some support. Make everything at right angles. So bend from your hips at a right angle, your knees at a right angle. Hands are together, straight out from your shoulders in front of your chest. Take a deep breath in. We're going to open up into a twist. And then exhale and come back. And you don't need the block, but if you want it, you can take it. Let's do a couple more. Inhale, open up into that twist. And exhale to come back. One more time. Feel the mobility of your spine, the openness of your breathing. Back to center. Change direction. Roll over onto the other side. Everything at right angles. Once you feel ready, let's open up. Big breath in, feel your chest expand, the twist in your spine. Exhale, back to center. Moving with the natural rhythm of your breathing. Let's do 3 total. And then come back onto your back knees into your chest. One more time, a big open star on the ground. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Exhale, knees draw in. And let's roll over onto your side. Okay. Come on up onto your hands and your knees. And let's start enjoying the movement of some cat-cows. Feeling that sense of mobility where we need to feel into the openness of both the front of your vertebrae and the back of your vertebrae. And after a couple of rounds of some cat-cows, just feel into the range of motion of your spine in any way you want. You can wag your tail about, move your rib cage, feel the mobility of your shoulder blades, move around in your head. Welcome yourself home to yourself. This beautiful breath and movement of the body. Remember that we're making sure we're paying attention to the quality of our thoughts. Where does your mind go? Okay. All right, curl the toes under, stretch back, open up the bottom of the feet. Walk the hands forward so you have the sense of child's pose, but with your feet curled under. And then round your spine, come forward, and then open your chest, kind of a weird cobra pose a little bit, just still moving through. You can round your spine and roll back towards child's pose. And then one more time, round the spine, and then arch your back and lift the head and tail. And then walk your hands so they're back underneath your shoulders. Move the spine about. Inhale, left arm lifting high. Exhale, slide that left arm under. Enjoy the twisting here. It's opening up the spine, opening up the vertebrae, seeing what it feels like to breathe into the back body, to feel that sense of where ribs and spine meet. Bring your breath fully there. Inhale, bring that arm back up. Hand comes down onto the ground, second side. Arm lifting. Exhale, arm dropping down. All right, breathing deeply. See what it feels like to have the sense of openness across the shoulders. As you're ready, lift that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Find your way up to a dog pose. Now, once you're here, pedal out your feet. Take some time to feel into your posture. Let your neck relax. See if you can melt a bit through your face. Move your shoulders, your hips, your legs in any way that helps you to feel open and free, as well as stable and steady. So you can move your feet around, get the bottom of your feet to awaken and feel where they are. Same with the hands. Can you seal your hands down? And after some breathing and some moving in whatever way serves, see if you can bring more stillness to the posture. Bring your focus, your attention into grounding. You send the energy downward. And then can you lift the energy upward? Can you find those two opposing directions? Keep the head neutral and soft. Let the skin fall away from your face bones. How's your breath? If we want to have this harnessing of our energy, this wise use of our energy, our breath is absolutely one of our best gateways to access that. So pay attention to how you're breathing. Slow things down if you can or want to. Let's go ahead and walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Relax your neck. Wag your tail. Feel that sense of ease through your skull, your shoulders. Then come to a halfway lift, extending the spine. Stretch open the feet. Feel the femur bones lift up and back. Feel the roots of your big toes, your inner heels, the roots of your pinky toes, the outer heels. And then when your next exhale comes, melt again, let your head relax. Interlace your fingers behind your skull. Have a little bit of a tuck of chin. You pull in. Let your knees bend as much as you want. Feel the back body stretch. Inhale for a halfway lift again. Spine gets longer. And then melt and fold. Rise all the way up. We've been down for quite a bit. So if you're dizzy, squeeze. You can cross one thigh over the other thigh. Hands hug and push toward each other. This will help raise your blood pressure. So if you struggle with getting dizzy with the ups and downs of yoga, make some modifications so that you're not doing as much of it. And recognize that this is something that can be dehydration. It can be your vagus nerve needing a little more toning. There's lots of things that could be happening when your blood pressure tends to bottom out. So let's pay attention and support ourselves as best as you can. Inhale, open up, lean back a little bit, feel the chest rise and open, heart expands upward and outward. And let's cactus the arms and squeeze the back body a little bit, wake things up back there. Inhale, arms come up again, and exhale, big swan dive forward, let your neck relax. Inhale for a halfway lift. Straighten out the legs and the spine. Exhale and melt again. Let's step our left foot back. Right foot is coming forward to a lunge. Okay, ground your legs. See what it feels like to root, but then to feel that extension through your spine. So with your crown, can you lengthen it all the way to your back heel? Can you press your front heel into the ground as well so that you have a sense of grounding through the balls of your back toes and your front foot? When you feel ready, let's start to move, straightening and bending the front knee, just warming up all the muscles in your legs. So the hip flexors of the back leg start to open, the hamstrings of the front leg start to open. Having that sense of mobility comes with the breath. All right, so ground your legs, come rising on up. Reach the arms to the sky, feel a sense of space and breath. Reach into the length of your body, see what it feels like to not push your rib cage out, but to have that integration of the center. Ground your legs. All right, release your hands down onto the ground, back foot comes forward, fold. Inhale for a half, excuse me, halfway lift. Exhale and relax and melt again. Left foot is now forward, right foot back. Come into a lunge on this side. Before you start moving, just feel into the grounding. Move your feet downward, feel that support. Feel the spaciousness in your spine. Let's start to move when you feel ready. Straightening the front knee, breathing. Bending the front knee, breathing. Try to feel that your breath is your support system. It's your focal point. It helps you bring your attention into this present moment awareness. Feeding your body, feeding your mind, your breath. So find your lunge. When you're ready, rise up. See what it feels like to have that openness. Maybe your arms come up in the air. Maybe it doesn't. They don't. I don't know if you can notice. Kitty cat's right here, and look, she's about to jump onto the couch. She's improving. Her health is so much improving. Go ahead. You can do it. Okay, so feel into that reach and space of the spine. Cactus open if you want to. Put the arms where it serves. And then release your hands down onto the ground. Step your front foot back. Come into dog pose as you feel ready. Feel into that beautiful space and reach of the body, as well as feel the grounding. Yield. Give your hands and feet more weight. Relax your neck. Come forward. Come into a plank. Steady yourself. Move your shoulders away from the ears. Feel that integration of the center of your body. Inner thighs lifting toward the sky. So try not to compress your pelvis. Instead, use your core to support you. Let's put our knees down if you need that support all the way to the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times. So you have that mobility. Inhale, rising up, cobra pose. Exhale, melting down. Again, lifting on up. Exhale, releasing your body. Up onto all fours. Swish about through the spine. Wag your tail, move your vertebrae. Curl toes under, back towards child's pose. Let the feet open up. Come on up when you're ready. Dog pose. Extending through the spine here. Feel that breath. Feel the yielding. Give way, give your weight, and then expand and open. So walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, relax your neck. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt again. Rising up. Bring your arms to the sky and trace down through the center. Pay attention. Just moving through a sense of the beginning of our practice, these movements that we often and always do. The familiarity of them, does it give you comfort? Is there a sense of freedom that you've just cultivated in your body from 15 minutes ago? So notice what just a few minutes of paying attention to your breath, of moving your body, of being centered and focused and present offers you. Is this a wise use of your energy? What are you cultivating? How do you feel? Inhale, arms coming up. And exhale, and fold forward. We're going to take our feet a little wider on our mat to the edges of our mat and squat. You can come up with your torso a little bit higher so you're not leaning down toward the ground. Try to have your elbows on top of your knees or inside your knees. Your choice. Toes can turn out a little bit if that's what's comfortable for your knees. Draw weight back into the hips. Find the spine. lengthen it. Now see what it might feel like to either stretch your arms overhead, thumbs up, out to the side, thumbs up, or arms back, palms down. Okay, so any of those pathways work. See what feels good for your body. Breathing, drop weight into your hips, feel the breath. And then we're gonna rise all the way up again. If you're dizzy, take care of yourself. Take your feet a little bit wider. And so find that sense that we're still slightly turning our feet out. We're gonna move through some goddess just to warm up our pelvis and legs. Inhale, arms coming up. Draw that energy down. Bring some energy downward in your body. And then scoop it up from below and bring some energy up through your body. Move with your breath. Your breath pace might be different from mine. Follow your own internal rhythms, not my rhythms. All right, and then next time we get down there, we're gonna stay. So your legs can be higher, your legs can be lower. Make sure your knees are feeling good. Make sure you're balanced in your weight. And then decide where you want your arms to be. Anywhere is fine. Drop the shoulders. Feel into the breath. Root into the four corners of your feet. Start to wake up those hips. Relax the shoulders. Try to stay upright with your torso so we're not leaning forward. All right, now pick up your heels. Come up onto a pair of high heels and just notice what's shifting. Inhale, arms coming up. Put your heels down, straighten your legs. Find your breath. We're going to come down into our right leg. Come into a squat in that leg as deep as your body will allow. You can put your hands on blocks or the floor, depending on how deep you go with your knee. Not everybody's knee can totally flex, so just be where you are. Open up the inner thighs. And we're going to come back over to the other side. Again, feel the inner thigh lengthen, stretch your heart free. That's deep squat in your knee, as deep as your body will allow. Finding the breath. Okay, come back up. Now we're going to come low in our goddess squat, so the feet are still wide. You're going to drop your hips in line with the knees if you can. Torso is facing down toward the floor. Elbows inside the knees to help you open up those inner thighs. Feel the grounding of your feet. And rise all the way up. Arms coming to the sky. Again, if you're dizzy, take a moment to squeeze to the midline and readjust. And then as you feel ready, we're going to come into some standing poses. Let's start with triangle pose. Tip the pelvis over to the right. A block is so nice to have underneath your hand if you need it. You can also have your hand on your leg. Try not to bear heavy weight on the block or your leg. So we're light, we're lifting up and finding space from our heart to our hands. Feel that groundedness through your feet. Just like we found in dog pose, that rooting that was so accessible, let's find it now. Notice your front knee. If you tend to be a hyperextender, have a little melt in there so that you're not locking your knee out. Feel the roots of your back foot. How's your breath? Okay, come on up. We're going to go left and right here today. So turning over to the other side, bring the block with you. And remember, for all of these externally rotated standing poses that we'll do, you don't have to have your front heel match up with your back arch. You can have heel, heel, or even wider than that, depending on your pelvis and how your hips are moving. Okay, so tip over, let your pelvis turn to the, or tip to the side, hand comes down onto your leg or onto the block. Now, deeper is not better. So if you find yourself coming low, but your chest is here where you can't open up, Bring your hand higher so that you can feel that sense of space across your chest. Move your crown and tail away from each other. Move your shoulders away from the ears. Start to turn the navel toward the sky. Let the ribs follow. Root into the feet. Try not to hyperextend the knee. Unlock. Stay grounded through the left big toe. This will help you keep the knee from locking out. How's that breath? Are you having wise use of energy? Are you harnessing your energy? Are you concentrating your attention and your focus? Okay, come on up. Back to center. Second side. So, Parsvakonasana, elbow down, stretch your arm overhead. Feel the roots of your legs. Drop weight into your feet, feel the support. So Brahmacharya, excess, moving away from excess can also mean moving away from extremes in your body positions or extremes in kind of giving away all your energy in one bit. So it's how do you conserve your energy so that you can use it wisely? So notice that in your postures, you want to give your energy into the pose, but you also want to receive some energy from the pose. Try to make sure that the pathway of energy exchange from the earth is going in two directions, that you're not just depleting yourself, but you're nourishing yourself. Find the breath. Root into both feet. Where's that back leg? Can you find it? Come back up. We're moving our feet over to the other side. Parsvakonasana on this side. Bend your knee. You can use a block underneath your hand, or you can put an elbow on your knee. However you feel supported in this pose. Shoulders away from the ears. Now remember, we're not trying to squeeze ourselves between two panes of glass. If this back hip needs to turn a little bit toward your front leg to have ease across your sacrum, do that. Feel that sense of anchoring through your front leg. Your sit bone, your knee, and your ankle are all on one plane. We're not letting our knee cave in and our butt stick out behind us. We're finding that line of that front leg and then letting the pelvis maneuver around that support, that stability. All right, so feel into the release of your neck. Relax the base of your skull. Let that energy trail down toward your sacrum. Breathing well. Remember, the breath is our support system. It's our harness into this moment. It's probably our best gateway into understanding wise use of energy. All right, come back up. Stand again with your legs wide apart, a standing star. Breathing in. And then bring your arms straight out. Feel that you're symmetrical for a moment before we do another pose on one side. Can you feel that center line of the spine? And the sternum reaching out to the hands. And then when you're ready, turn to the right again. So again, we're anchoring our front heel, our knee, and our sit bone on one plane. It doesn't matter how deep you bend. You could be right up here in this posture and have a beautiful Virabhadrasana too. You can go deeper and have your knee stacked over your ankle. Just don't go past your ankle. Okay? But not everybody's knee can do this comfortably. So if you need to back off, okay? Allow the back hip to be in whatever space it needs to be. You can take the femur bone back, but if you need to move the pelvis a little bit to turn to the right, do that. If you're deeply turned to the right, make sure your chest is over your pelvis. So we don't want to have our pelvis turn a lot to the right and then have our torso turn to the left. Follow, let there be synchronicity between what's happening crown over tail. Root the feet, drop the shoulders. Feel that grounding energy supporting you. What's feeding you here? Is your breath feeding you? Is the earth feeding you? Can you have a sense of ease that comes from efficiency? Okay, reverse your warrior and feel that beautiful side body stretch. And then let's straighten the leg. Turn your feet straight over to the other side. So we find our hips, strengthening in this way. Make sure that you're tracking well. So sit bone, your knee and your ankle, all on one plane. Bend your knee to whatever level your knee and your hips can support. If you have, pain in a joint, back away. Listen to the signs of your body telling you when excess is happening. So if you go too deeply, is that wise use of your body? Is that wise use of your mind? Okay. Find your way into Virabhadrasana. Balance the effort with the ease. Find the breath. Can you slow the exhales down? Soften something, soften your gaze. Feel into the fullness of your breathing. Ground those legs. When you feel ready, you can reverse your warrior and stretch that arm up. And then straighten your legs, turn them forward, toes turned out one more time, arms up. Exhale, symmetry. Okay. Inhale, rising tide. Exhale, feel those vayus going in two different directions, the downward energy, the upward energy. One more time. All right, standing star, invite everything in. If you want to close your eyes, close your eyes. If you want them open, focus your eyes. Release your hands down. We'll come back to the center of your mat. Bring your legs hip width apart. All right, so just stand. Notice, as your hips kind of find their way back to neutral territory. Notice if you're having wise use of energy. Is your breath guiding the body? Is it guiding your thoughts? Are you having a sense of focus and attention? Are you avoiding excess? Are you avoiding shying away from use of energy? Sometimes that balance point is hard to find, right? So try also not to get trapped up in woulda, coulda, shoulda. This is not wise use of energy. And be here now. Inhale. Make sure you're facing the front of your mat. Reach the arms up. And then fold forward. Let your back relax. Soften your skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt again. Step back to dog pose. Enjoy. We have this broad base of support. There's a lot of contact with the ground. Our head is low. Breathe deeply into this space. Come forward into a plank, feeling that sense of integrity, support. And then lower yourself down. Roll the shoulders a few times. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, and melt. Come up onto all fours, move your pelvis, your rib cage, your spine and back. And back towards child's pose and let your hips compress. This should feel good after the standing poses. Just let them relax into the nestling of this posture. If you're skipping a dog pose, this might be one to skip. You can just come to stand, stretch out through your body, breathe well. Dog pose, and then walk your feet forward. Climbing on up when you feel ready. Again, if you feel dizzy, take a moment to just reconnect with your blood pressure, squeeze to the midline. We're going to do a balanced posture. Try to always squeeze in at least one bit of balance. So drop, you have a choice actually. If you'd like to do tree pose instead, you can do tree pose instead, or you can follow me and come into figure 4. So your knee, you're standing on your right leg, your left foot is on top of your right knee, palms coming together. If you need the support of a wall or a piece of furniture, take it. Notice if your hips want to do weird things. See if you can keep your pelvis neutral. Draw your thighs back like chair pose. Reach the arms up if you want. Reach the arms out. Reach the arms back. Whatever feels good for your breath, your shoulders. Draw your femur bones back into the hips, wide sit bones. Feel free to come lower if your body wants to do that. And then we're going to slowly rise up, lift your knee, arms up to the sky, foot down onto the ground. Enjoy the 2 points of contact on the floor. A full breath in, a complete exhale. Second side, we're standing on the left leg. Now notice if your hip wants to hike out, see if you can hug it in. As you rest your right foot on your left knee, see what it feels like to draw both femur bones back. Wide sit bones. Now, if you're, having difficulty maneuvering because your hip is tight, be as high as you need to be so that you don't start doing weird things to try to avoid the hip stretch. So you want to have stability in your pelvis where your hips are square, your femur bones are drawing back, your sit bones are wide, arms go anywhere you want them to be. Up overhead, out to the sides, back, hands on hips, palms together. So many choices. How's the breath? You can go lower, you can go lower. When you're ready to come out, lift that knee, standing on your left foot, right leg knee lifts up, reach your arms, and put your foot down onto the ground. Deep breath. As you exhale, fold forward. Last pass through vinyasa if you want to, or just come to child's pose. Dog pose if you want. The practice is always yours. There's no prescriptions, there's no rules. It's always yours. Forward into a plank. Find cobra pose, maybe up dog, whatever feels good to come next. And relax. And child's pose again. You can have a little pit stop on all fours to move your spine about. Now to go deeper into the hips. Once you're ready, take your time in child's pose, but we're going to find either reverse pigeon pose or pigeon pose. If you're coming into pigeon pose and you need support, take support. So wise use of energy in our practice means listening to the body. If the body says, no, that doesn't feel good, making a different choice. Finding the support, right leg is forward first. Finding the support that you need so that your body can sustain its efficiency and breath. And so as you come down, if you're in pigeon pose, make sure your head can be supported. If you're on your back, make sure the weight of your head is really heavy on the ground. Wide sit bones, square hips. Try not to shy away from the stretch. Give yourself fully to the alignment. And if you can't get there, then put more support underneath you. So the breath is what supports us. Lengthen your spine. When you feel ready, find your way out of that side. Perhaps dog pose in between, perhaps you're just switching your legs, whatever is your favorite way of going about transitioning to the other side. This side might feel very different, so if you need different support, more support, take that. Extend and lengthen, and then melt your way into your posture. Relax your jaw, your eyes. Make sure whether you're on your back or on your front that your head is feeling heavy. You feel the support below it. The shoulders are relaxed. Allow for the opening of your hips. So when you move into a deep pose like this, first find the support and then melt within the support. If at any point a joint, any joint, your ankle, your knee, your hip, your SI joint, any part of your spine, if it speaks to you and says, this is not okay, wise use of energy does not mean the discipline of just forging ahead. It means the discipline of paying attention and adjusting moment by moment to what the body's need is. All right. Come on out of there as you feel ready for it. I'm going to come down onto our back and bring our knees to our chest. Straighten your legs. When you feel ready to do that, after you bring your knees to your chest, just let your feet move around. And then put your feet back down on onto the ground. Take your time. We're going to do a simple twist. Move the hips over right, knees come up and drop them left. Turn your head to the right as your knees go left. Breathe into that mobility of your spine. Up to center. Scoot your hips over to the left, knees come up, drop them over to the right. Turn your head left. Enjoy. Enjoy your breath. Enjoy the mobility of your body. Come back to center. Grab a block, put it on its low height. Put it underneath your pelvis. Feet on the ground. Just have a moment. This is not really meant to do anything other than just set your sacrum. So after doing a lot of asymmetry, we're just allowing symmetry. So allow your pelvis to melt on the flat, low block. Breathe into your low belly. Feel the symmetry come back into your pelvis, your SI joints. If you feel ever so inclined, you can bring your knees toward your chest for a little bit of traction. You can bring your legs straight up in the air. You can keep your feet on the ground, whatever feels like a nice symmetrical way to complete your practice. Find your way out of there and prepare for Shavasana. So that could mean putting socks and a sweater back on. It could mean pulling out a bunch of props to support yourself, an eye pillow, some blankets, a bolster under your knees. Could mean nothing at all, and you just lie down on the ground. So no matter what is needed to prepare for Shavasana, go ahead and do that. And then once you have the comfort that you're looking for, you'll get all the fidgety out so that your body can rest in stillness. If you're touching props or anything, move it away so that the distractions are less. This is a gift. This is a few minutes of a really beautiful gift in your day. So let's enjoy. See if you can come into a place where the mind and the body are still working as one. Just because the body's getting still, we're not getting mobile with the mind. The mind is focused on the breath and body. Melt the weight of your head, the heaviness of your limbs. Notice what your breath feels like as it moves in and moves out. Relax the skin on your face.
And to deepen. Before you move, melt your body one more time. Start to stretch and move in any way that serves. Eventually finding your way onto your spine. Coming up to sit as you feel ready. Place your hands together. And throughout the day, see if you can ask yourself these questions. How am I spending my mental energy? How am I spending my physical energy? How am I spending my emotional energy? Is it best use of my energy? Is it moving me onto the divine path, the Brahmacharya? Let's offer the energy we've cultivated to share. Send forth a stream of your beam of light to someone who needs your care. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.